Hey y'all, it's me, your boy, again. Actually, I made a video earlier, like spontaneous video, and I know my mic is still unbearable, but hit the subscribe button and help me build up an audience so I can start investing more money in this. Okay, but that aside, for so long, please bear with my mic. I'm gonna try to get one as soon as I can afford one. The economy is kind of tight now. Guys, I was gonna make a video on. I wanted to make a video before BlizzCon. I'm in Europe, so I don't know if like I think America, that sometimes America is like one day ahead. I think it was or something like that. So I really hope BlizzCon. It doesn't seem like BlizzCon has launched yet. So I'm making this video like one day before BlizzCon. I like predicting stuff in in a lot of stuff. I when I watch a movie, I can't stop thinking. I actually predicted that Iron Man would die on a whim. I was trolling my little brother who was gonna see the Endgame movie, and I said, "Well, Iron Man is gonna die," on a joke, and then I just felt like, "Whoa, it feels like Iron Man is gonna die. I think Iron Man is gonna die. It sounds like something Marvel would, pull off in a movie like this," and it kind of just felt like the right thing to do, and that he sacrifices himself, and he did. uh, Anyways, my point is, I was gonna make a video, but it turned out to be like 48 minutes long. I think the content was great, but I don't. I'm gonna try to make a shorter video. So let's start. So this video popped up for me, and I was like, oh my god, I was gonna make one too, but I don't know who this guy is. This is like the first time I see him in my life. But like I'm gonna give you my thoughts throughout this video and my predictions. I agree with some that he says, and I don't think everything that he says is
You're having a
correct.
wonderful day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, where high res dragon. No. This is part of us. This is part of something. This is part of a cinematic. Now the first thing people are gonna say is, wait a second. Why are Bolvar Four Dragon's eyes blue? And that's a really, really great question. I'm honestly not sure.
Well, I'm
Because if
gonna
you
tell.
guys
I told you guys. Well, I'm gonna tell you it in this video. This is what I think. I think that Bolvar might be struggling with control. The bluish theme represents Nerzul's spirit that lingers in these items still that corrupted Arthas, whilst Nerzul received a different power which helps him resist that power of Nerzul. So I think it's in some kind of spiritual battle, or it might be like or he might have already had the battle and won it, won the mental battle for his mind, and now he's free. But the bluish ice lingers because he's been frozen for a really long time. Yes, he had orange ice before that, but he's back. Stuff happens. He's wearing the mask that one of the mask that I think Nerzul is sealed in it. So obviously he wasn't just sitting there doing nothing. His mentality was probably under constant pressure. I don't think Bolvar is going to turn out to be a bad guy. At most, he will struggle to keep himself sane. But I think he's gonna be on our side, especially that Bolvar and Anduin were Bolvar watched over Anduin when he was a kid, and that we've already been introduced to his daughter in BFA. Talia, I think her name is Talia. It says that. No, it doesn't. I think I saw it somewhere here. No, no whatever. I think her name is Talia for Dragon. She's the one that introduces you to
recall,
the
when Bolvar
the to Boralos.
took the throne of the Lich King, during which the theme for Yogg Saron was playing, by the way, uh, his eyes were golden orange.
We can skip that. He's talking about just how he looks.
Now, on the note of that, man, this looks
Yeah,
awesome.
he's still talking about how awesome it looks.
His little like bracer on the arm there looks so cinematic. So the next question becomes, why are we getting the cinematic? What's happening in this cinematic? And a lot of people are beginning to infer that perhaps some of the Shadowlands stuff is true. Perhaps the next World of Warcraft expansion actually is the Shadowlands. And if Bolvar's involvement in said expansion was going to be, or is going to be, as prevalent as it's mentioned in some of those leaks, and as some of us, myself included, have predicted, one of my high
I've actually predicted that Bulwar would come back for a really long time. I mean, even I started playing this game in Cataclysm, actually in Lich King, but I sucked because I was like 10 years old and couldn't understand that shit. But I've been playing this game for a really long time, and I was a Lich King fanboy. So after we killed him, I thought, oh, like, you know what, Bulwar's gonna come back one expansion. And I also predicted that we would raid Azshara long back, long before when I started to learn about her in the game. I was like, this sounds like a badass character. She's gonna be a raid boss. And my friend said, no, she's already been in a dungeon, blah, blah, blah. He also thought that we had raided her. He mixed her up with a Naga in TBC. It's not her. So we are gonna. I said it, and we raided Azshara. I also predicted. I told that in my other video. You can check it out, guys. It's my first video, and turn up the sound. Sometimes it turns out differently. Like it turns out really low compared to the video on my like in my folder last. So I had to turn up the sound a lot. I don't know how to do if I can fix it through edits. I'm gonna try to do it. Anyways, so uh, I also predicted that we would raid Nozoth, and now every person told me it's not. Blizzard has said nothing. Blah, blah. It's all in the other video, guys. Just check it out. I reveal. I was, procrastinating. I think it's called, with it until I was like, oh wait, shit, BlizzCon is soon. I got to release my thoughts before I, before it's too late. And so, uh, many people are predicting. I realized I don't watch many videos. Like I've not watched a single one of those videos. I've just seen this one, like skimmed through it, and I agree with Tom that he says he's not really predicting anything in this video. By the way, he's just sitting on the fence and saying like maybe it's gonna be that, maybe I don't know. Uh, uh, well, I'm gonna theorize a bit around all of that.
view grossing videos of all time is about the return of the Lich King, Bolvar specifically, then maybe this little cinematic could lead us into the plot of the next expansion.
Now, when I was younger, I thought that Bor would be a raid boss, but with time, I learned more. So I was like, no, I don't think it's gonna be a raid boss. I think he's gonna be a good guy. But um, the reason I think that they would make, I'm not gonna say that you're gonna, I don't think they're gonna give us second Wrath of the Lich King. Now, it's a possibility. I'm gonna go like him now. It's a possibility, but I don't think so. Uh, I think they were just gonna add him into the game and make him relevant. Again, like make him a relevant, important character, unlike in Legion when he was just there with the Death Knights. That's about it. I think they're gonna make him a relevant character in the battle ahead. That's what I think, and I personally think that the next expansion will feature Ethereals a lot. I think we're gonna step by step walk into the void. Like now they revealed this Shadowlands thing. I don't think it's gonna be called Shadowlands. I don't know because it feels weird if they released it before BlizzCon. I think that might be a beta thing. I don't think, but I think it might be called that because I think we're gonna enter some sort of Shadowland.
And if that's the case,
Okay, now it's like
well,
coming. So
the fact that Yogg-Saron I literally can't even contain the excitement that I feel right now.
I'm not gonna lie, you know, as a fellow war player, my homie, I feel like I should come too.
BlizzCon is a mere days away. I'm flying out in 2 days to Anaheim, California.
Holy shit, when is that? Oh my god.
And I am so excited.
It's
I
like
am
in some
so fucking
hours.
excited. If you guys didn't know, the first 4 main panels after the opening ceremony, this reminds me of only one thing.
He's gonna say Elune.
And I think that when you start looking at these kind of 10, reminds me of Elune. You may start to see what I see. This art style reminds me of Elune.
He's right. It's when you see all this art stuff, this ten, let's call them tentacles, celestial tentacles or whatever, walking around here. It's the same ones that, oh god, my back. It's the same ones that picked up Azshara in Legion. So, but I don't think that. First of all, I was gonna say that Elune was a moon. I don't think Elune is a moon. Like, I think the moon just is a kind of a metaphorical representation of her, like a lot of pagan gods. Now there is also the thought that the planets are gods, kind of like the Titans. I'm talking about mythology because a lot of these stuff are like they come from mythology and cultural things, and we need to take into account that Blizzard is in America and the Bible is very relevant in America. Like culturally, they are grown up around that, so you hear a lot of quotes from the Bible and stuff like that, which is gonna get me to a very important point later on.
And if that were the case, these Kyrians, there's a creature, I believe it's from D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, called Kyrian or Kirin or something of that nature.
Oh my God.
And the words Elune. And while some may not see the connections between Elune and death in the Warcraft story, I can throw a couple things out there that might help make a little more sense here. If we go to the Shadowlands, and Elune is in any capacity an entity of death and or shadow, and light even, could be a combination of both, then this would make sense. Because Elune is essentially the goddess, the sole goddess and shepherd of the dead and fallen souls of the Night Elves. That right there is enough to relate her to death. She literally can take the
Okay, let me get to it. Oh God, I hurt my back during martial arts practice yesterday a little. Anyways, so let's. This is what I think. Elune is based off mythological goddesses, and I think the aspect of her guiding the souls and all of that is now either she can be some goddess that you know guides them to the underworld, but many times the whole that goddess is the goddess of the underworld. Now she's represented darkness in the night kind of sense because her moon is like the moon is her symbol. I think the Shadowlands is kind of like the underworld, and now necessarily it doesn't necessarily mean that like it's the I think we'll meet a lot of spirits there, perhaps. But I think mostly ethereals will inhabit the place. I also do think that ethereals will be made a race, and that we might get a new class that is both ranged and melee. Like you can choose, kind of like hunters. Now they made survival hunter melee. But I think because ethereals will play a role, and ethereals are they cast and they are rogues, and that's a race really. But yeah, now I'm not sure about the class thing, but I'm sure about. Okay, I'm not going to say I'm sure, but I could guess that we are gonna get ethereals as a race. I've actually wanted them as a race, but since I only play demon hunter now, so still. He will also talk if you didn't skip that about how this looks. I think when you look at the tutorials, they remind you of Arabian kind of stuff sometimes. But if you're gonna go deeper into that, it's really not from there. That's just how we are cultured today. If you're gonna go deeper, it's the whole magical mysticism kind of stuff comes from in those areas come from the ancient Egyptians that are alive today called Copts and Babylonians, which are Arameans and Assyrians and called yeah. So and many things in Blizzard are based off actual cultures and history and mythology and stuff like that, all mixed up into one. I mean, the Pantheon is directly from Greek mythology, and Northoth is based off Luciferian slash Christian devil. Uh, Azshara is based off. She met. I'm gonna tell you soon.
the fallen souls
Mm.
of the Night Elves and transport them to other worlds. You guys saw what she did with Ysera. I mean, that's pretty incredible, the amount of power that Elune apparently has. Now, while I do believe that she is a moon, while it is that she is a moon, rather,
Oh, I don't know what he means. Like he's calling her a moon, and then he says, "Well, it it is a she's
I
a
do
moon."
believe that she gets her light-based powers from somewhere else. I believe that is possible. But I
Well, she's not a moon, by the way.
digress. We might, if I'm on the right track here, whatever these Kyrian are, if this ends up being the case, we could
Because if she was the moon, she would be a Titan, which is a possibility, but I don't think she's a Titan.
actually, in the next expansion of World of Warcraft, we could we could meet Elune if they wanted to play it out that way.
I think we're gonna meet Elune. I think they played Elune. Now I'm gonna tell you why I think we're gonna meet Elune, because they've like played on the Elune thing a lot in two expansions now, in Legion, and then with the whole Teldrassil burning down and the Night Elves being angry partially at Elune. You know, even the warden, one of the wardens, like said, "Elune be damned. We have done that scenario so many times," and you know. Uh, they like she was talking really disrespectfully to Elune, to Rand they did, but she was still, you know, she's still the incarnation of Elune's wrath or something like that. So yeah, we're gonna meet Elune definitely. I think we were. I
We
think we
could
are.
actually meet the Moon Goddess,
Yeah, we
which
are.
would be
If
crazy. And here's the thing about Elune is that Elune
he talks a lot, like he doesn't make any predictions, which is kind of frustrating. It's like just we could meet. I think we are gonna meet her.
light is very interesting. And there's some stuff in Dungeons and Dragons where you can call it down like moonbeam is that Elune's light has a way of cleansing, not
This is important.
replacing like what the
Yeah,
holy light would do, but cleansing and showing the truth. Did you guys know that there's a quest from I believe it's Ashenvale, if I'm not mistaken, from way
yeah.
back? I
It's
think it's actually in Classic, where you perform this ritual and Elune actually cleanses the satyr form of a night elf. Elune's light returns a satyr, which is a demon form of a night elf, back into a night elf.
this is really important for one of my other theories slash predictions. Elune can cleanse. I think that Azshara is beloved by Elune. Yes, that's right. That's why she's so powerful. That's why she has so much power. She's not your average elf. She's the queen of all. She's like the first ruler among quote unquote mortals. I mean, like compared to Nozoth and the Titans, we are still mortals. And so I think Azshara is like super beloved by Elune and super powerful, and oh, she's super powerful. What are you talking about? I think Azshara might be redeemed. I think she might come in her redeemed Nightel form. I think that might happen through her going to Elune and Elune cleansing her form that was given by Nozoth, and Nozoth obviously represents corruption. So I think that now that Azshara is being tortured, and Azshara always refused to bend the knee to Nozoth, really. She has. I mean, she was toying with him, and that's why she's being tortured in the new raid coming, because she refused to bow the knee to Nozoth. And now that he's free, he's torturing her to force her to bend the knee, because she didn't give in to the whispers like many others has done. That's literally what it says about the boss that is torturing her. They torture the ones that hasn't given in to Nozosa's whispers. I think she tells us to free her because she holds the power to. She's the only one who holds the power to defeat him. And therefore, I think that she will be freed and her form might be cleansed. There's also a possibility that Sylvana's gone to this place where Elune is, and to get her form or something like that. Um, there's a huge possibility that Sylvanas is seeking something from Elune. Now, I think Sylvanas is a good person, which my video is about. A good person, which my video is about. So check the other video if you have time.
Basically reverting it to its true form.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen with Azshara. I hope, at least I think.
It's very interesting. She can cleanse the
and possibly all the Naga with her.
nightmare corruption as well. It's a pretty neat little truth. I think that would be really fucking cool to us, and that may actually be what what this is. I don't know what this is, but this is just uh I am very excited about all of this. There's some fake
Me
images
too,
going around. I
homie.
don't know if you guys have seen this one, but ultimately I think that there is a moment during which we will likely encounter, whether directly or indirectly, Elune herself, and have some kind of truth revealed to us, and that may actually be what what this is.
I think World of Warcraft is a lot about our ascension as mortals. Like we get getting stronger and stronger and proving the Titans wrong and proving the Immortals wrong. We are kind of, ascending as beings. At the same time as we are like defeating, we're stepping towards the void to defeat the void to save our planet because we didn't kill Sargeras, but we defeated Sargeras, who was trying to remake the universe precisely because of the void. Now the void itself is like there's no one to stop them now that Sargeras is gone except for us. So obviously we are battling Nozoth, and we have had the Legion for like three expansions, two expansions in a row, like Warlords of Draenor Legion, and and yeah. So now uh we are walking towards what should the void step by step. I don't know how long it will take, if it's this expansion or next expansion. This might be a step to that expansion through the Shadowlands, which you see. When you look at the buildings, you like, aren't you struck by like a more ethereal type of fashion? And now I think the ethereals might be involved in this, and uh, he said, I think we missed it. He said that it looks like a night elf type of place, Suramar and stuff, and which is right about now. The reason I spoke about the earlier about the culture, our culture in real life, is because we need to think that the Blizzard is made in America, and they have a lot of references to actual mythology and history, and the Bible as well. Like Azshara is literally based off the Babylonian kingdom, powerful. Um, they're powerful. They're like the first great nation. Uh, Not only that, the shattering happened from there, and in according to the Bible, Babylon, people, all mankind were split from there by God, and this time it was Nozoth bringing down. Uh, no, it wasn't Nozoth. It was because of the Legion, when Legion are led by a god. Sargeras, like, I mean, come on, guys. So the shattering happened. I think that's why it happened. Anyways, so the shattering happened because of this cosmical uh, stuff, and she was sunk underwater, which refers to the second, and Nozoth reached out to her and all of that, and Nozoth wants his empire resurrected. Now I think Nozoth is inspired partly. Now let's skip the H.P. Lovecraft stuff. That's obvious. We are talking about the history. I think Nozoth is inspired by uh, the whole story about this whole story is inspired from the Babylonian story and pre-flood. I speak more about it actually in my other video. Nozoth is the beast that comes from the sea. I mean, come on, he's still beneath the sea, just like the Bible speaks about the beast in the Revelation, and it comes forth, and there's a woman riding it, and Azshara is the one helping Nozoth, quote unquote, helping Nozoth. And so he represents the beast and its kingdom. Like the beast is a kingdom, and what does Nozoth want? He wants his empire to return, and that's kind of what's going to happen according to Revelation. Devil and his empire, and the one riding this beast is a woman, as which is it's like all in metaphors, but I think that's what Blizzard has visualized in game. I think they've taken inspiration from that story, in particular. Uh, so that's why I'm saying Arabian, like all the mosaic and stuff like that, comes from the people around pre-Arab history, but since it's been occupied by Arabs for a very long time, we call it that now. But that's my point. I wanted to get to the, you know, and the reason I know a bit about Middle Eastern history is because of my roots. I am a native. I belong to one of the natives. Now I'm not talking about the, fake natives. I'm talking about the real natives, those who actually built uh, Babylon. Now, and there's I know the myths, some of the myths from there. So I think it's interesting because Blizzard do draw upon. I mean, guys, don't I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but I think everyone who denies it is just lying to themselves. Blizzard has based much of the stuff that we see in the races off real races and their like their culture, the whole Zandalari troll thing. I mean, just when you go to Zandalar, it's obviously the Mayans and those kind of people, and then it's mixed a bit with African as well. Now, there's a lot of relationary like between Egypt, Africa, and like deeper Africa and the whole and the Native American stuff like that. But let's go on.
I don't know what this is, but this is just speculation. Uh, I am very very excited about all of this.
This is like come on. Go.
There's some fake images going around. I don't know if you guys have seen this one. This is made by someone
So
on
ugly.
Twitter. It says,
It's
under the
so
guidance
ugly.
of Bolvar
It's so
Dragon,
ugly.
present ruler of the damned,
So
the Ebon
ugly.
Knights of Arcaris have learned to harness the power of the dragon's
What
flame.
the
Ascend the
yes.
frozen throne. Anyway, but what if that's actually what it was? Packed with it took there are other in the fact that he's a
He's
some knowledge.
gonna talk about how Sylvanas is a bad guy for the rest of the video, which I actually made on my point against in my other video, and he's gonna talk about how the Boy King is Bolvar. He's literally calling Bolvar the Boy King or Wrathion. Bolvar and Wrathion are not the Boy King, guys. I'm telling you, I don't know why people are being so stupid about it. Anduin, like guys, just watch my other video, and I'm talking about it right there. Anduin is the Boy King. He's the one being called the Boy King. He's the one referred to as Boy King. He's more boyish than anyone. It's not hard to see. You don't even need to do the quest where he's called the Boy King, or see the cinematic where he's called the Boy King. You just have to look at him and you know that he's the Boy King. His father died and now he's king and he's young and he's a boy, and he's being called Boy King by Sylvanas, etc., etc. Uh, and he's working for the void because he's an idealist. Like I've said before, he's an idealist, and Nozoth himself presents an utopian, ideal utopia. Uh, and it's and he's a priest, so he has the shadow to him, and it's much possible that he fell for the promised utopia. Though I think Anduin is on a higher scale than Nozoth. He might be in direct contact with the void or some other shadow lords. Now in the shadow, if I think the expansion shadow, I don't know if it's gonna be called the Shadowlands because it feels really weird for them to release it like that and then release the shadow, release it like that might have been just a book cover or something. I think that might be in a book cover for their next book or something if there is no book like that. But I think this will happen in the next expansion, and I think this is where we are moving. I don't know how many expansions until we're exactly there, but I think we're going to move step by step throughout. Uh, we're gonna get Bulvar. We're gonna get Bulvar back. We're gonna get. We're gonna walk towards. We're gonna get more towards Sylvanas. I don't think she's a bad person, and I don't think she is gonna. We're gonna kill her. If we do, I think we fucked up really bad because I think she's gonna turn out to be a good guy, and we're gonna. What have we done? And Anduin is evil and all that. I think we are gonna get Bolvar. I think we are gonna get ethereals. Like I think ethereals are gonna get more relevant, way more relevant than they are now in the next expansion because they're very close to the whole void theme. I think we're gonna meet Elune. whether directly or indirectly, I think we're gonna have that Elune is gonna become way more relevant. And one of the reasons I think the Lich King will be very relevant is because first of all, NERZHUL is the first like Shadow Void type of magician. He's basically the first warlock of sorts. The necromancer and all of that stuff, which is relevant to the Lich King and death and souls and spirits, which is also relevant to the Void and the Shadow. Uh, and so I think they're all tied together, and we're gonna and moreover, we've had vanilla slash Legion. No, we've had vanilla slash TBC throughout the Warlords of Draenor and Legion type of lore. And what comes after that? Well, after TBC comes Wrath of the Lich King. So I think they're like going back and through it all again, and you know we already have some relevance towards the rest of the expansion, such as Cataclysm, because we have two of Deathwing's sons with us. I don't know what's going to happen to them, but Rathion is a good guy and he's with us. I That was a spoiler, but yeah, I'm gonna put a spoiler alert. Now he's with us, and Rathion is a good guy. And now how they will play it in the future, I don't know. Uh, so that's about it. Um, and what more? Let's see what he has more to say.
Or information of the other side, or perhaps Talia Fordragon shows up here with or without Kalia Menethil. Perhaps it's with Anduin fucking Rin. I mean, Bolvar Fordragon did watch over Anduin Rin
Yeah,
for
he did.
quite a little while, especially during the period where Anduin's father was gone. So Regent Lord Bolvar Fordragon, who has basically assumed command of Stormwind in Varian Rin's absence, it could be that Anduin Wren comes here with high resolution Talia Fordragon. And if that's the case, perhaps there's some kind of alliance, no pun intended, made between Anduin and Bolvar. Maybe Bolvar and Talia seek out, or Anduin and Talia seek out Bolvar Fordragon, and he tells us of some. I don't know. Like, there's so many possibilities. Like, there's so.
He's really not predicting anything. He's just saying there's a lot of possibilities. Now I try to cut down to the best theory, and that's called theorizing. Now I agree there are a lot of possibilities. I might be wrong, but at least want to take the risk of being wrong than just acting as if I know what's going to happen. Now I have my point, guys. I don't really like the whole style of it. Like it gives some good information, but there's no predictions. But I wanted this video because it's relevant to what I'm speaking about and the whole liching stuff. I wanted to talk about it for a really long time before I even streamed or had YouTube. I didn't have a cam, and the Azshara stuff and Elune stuff and all of that. I think so. We're gonna have Edwin is gonna be the boy king, and he's gonna lie to us. He's probably already lied to us. Um, Elune is gonna be relevant. Lich King is gonna be very relevant. Now I don't know how they will do exactly. They might go from that like give us a Lich King themed expansion before we go into the Shadow and all of that. Precisely because of NERZHUL being connected to the Lich King. Uh, Now I doubt now. Oh, it's possible that Bolvar has realized something and gotten a very deep insight during his time frozen with the helmet on, and his helmet contains the soul of NERZHUL. Now, Um, so Bolvar has probably gotten a lot of insight towards the whole shadow things and the necromancy because NERZHUL was the one NERZHUL was the first one to play around with those things, or one of the first, and he probably knows a lot of secrets, about those realms and stuff like that, and so Bolvar is probably gonna use that knowledge and become a great ally to towards this, unless unless he realizes something and goes all Deathwing style and like we have, like Sargeras, Deathwing, and those guys, end the world to save the world, kind of stuff. Now, uh, but I think he's gotten some very good insight from precisely NERZHUL, uh, or having the helmet on. And so Bolvar will be very relevant, especially since they've been, introduced us to his daughter, and Elune has been pushed for two expansions now, and so and we're gonna beat Nazoth, and precisely because we beat Nazoth, we need to we've beaten Sargeras, we need to deal with the Void now, and so we're gonna go step by step towards the Void, and therefore Ethereals will be made relevant. The Ethereals will be made relevant, the spirits and the souls and Elune and that Shadowland thing. I think the Shadowland thing is gonna be a book, uh, but I think it's gonna be relevant to the lore we're walking towards. How long it will take, I don't know. How they'll put out the steps, I don't know. We might get a Lich King 2, which will serve as a stepping stone for precisely the Shadowland stuff. Um, and I think if we're going directly to the Shadowlands, we're gonna get Ethereals as a race, and I think they will be like Pandarans. They will be neither alliance or horde. You like level them up and choose your faction or something like that, or you can choose your faction, or they might put them like on the both sides, and you don't have to do a quest because Ethereals really don't need anything anymore. We so we you can choose to be an ethereal horde or ethereal alliance. So that's what I think. We might get a new class. Not sure about that one. If so, I think it will be some kind of something relevant to the ethereals. Uh, Another interesting thing is that they might make ethereals a class and a race in of itself. That would be really interesting. And aside from that, now this is what I hope. I don't know if this will happen, but this is really what I hope. I hoped for this a really long time. I am really tired of the Alliance Horde thing. I hope they introduce a new faction. Actually, I want a Nozoth faction. I want what's it, like an old god Void faction. Join the evil side because I'm a villain fanboy, and so. I really hope for that. I don't think that will happen though, because we'd kill Nozoth. But there is a huge possibility. No, there's not a huge possibility. There is a possibility for a faction. That's about it. And yeah, that's what I think, guys. I hope you liked the video and thought it was some interesting thoughts into it. And if you want to know more about Sylvanas and stuff like that, I uploaded it. I hurried to upload it some days ago because I wanted it up before BlizzCon, reveal a bunch of stuff that I already think will happen. So I hope you check it out. I hope you check the video out. Uh, Now, I want to point out something on a side note. Bolvar seems like the guy who would do the necessary for the greater good. Like, if he has to kill Anduin or something, he will probably do it. And the alliance might get corrupted or something, and we might get a new faction. We might get like alliance plus horde faction, so you can play all the races on the same faction or something as well. And I think uh, I think Sylvanas is gonna like, yeah, she's she knows something. She's the enemy of the void. I talk about that in my other video. She knows something. She's the enemy of the void. So she's actually battling for the greater good, and she's take using the necessary measures, and she's not being naive because she's lived for a very long time and she knows a lot. It's possible that she and Bolvar will work together and stuff like that, and it's possible that they will fight or whatever. But I think she knows a lot, probably a lot about the shadow and the void and stuff like that, and that's why she's fighting it. She's doing what's necessary to save our world, or something or something else important to her. Uh, that's about it. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked this. I hope you click the follow button or subscribe or whatever it's called nowadays. I Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, I hope it kept. I hope it was short, but apparently it's probably longer than my other video. But still, I think it's better. Thank you. Bye.